Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show. Thank you. As you can see, I'm currently a guest down. Corey's laptop's burning up or something like that. It must be something to do with being down south. Probably no Wi-Fi or something down there. I don't know. They're all soppy southerners and all that jazz. But listen, Corey will be with us ASAP, okay? So just sit tight. As you can see, I've got two unfamiliar faces with us this week. Oscar's his granddad's ill, guys. So send love to Oscar. He's with his granddad at this time. Locks has popped off on holiday, so Locks isn't with us. So I brought in two fantastic guests. First of all, we've got David, the Irish Hotspur. How you doing, brother? All right?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. Thanks very much for having me, Joe. Really appreciate it. I just want to extend the condolences to Oscar. You know, I've done a few things with him. Yeah, he's a good guy, and hope everything's all right. But with Corey's laptop, he's probably burning up because Tottenham are top of the league right now. It's probably can't handle it.
Exactly. Yeah, you're bouncing. I guess what a segue actually to go from a Tottenham fan, top of the league. You've seen this guy before. You've seen them both, to be fair, on all Leeds TV. I'm announcing it as though you've never seen them before. But Igal, EGTV, Arsenal. How are you doing, brother? All right?
Oh man, I think at this point, yeah, I feel like it's a dream and this can't be reality. But hey, what are you gonna do? Arsenal's Arsenal, man. The ups and downs of being a football fan. You've been there. We know.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That's what I mean. We've been there. And down to the depths of League One, brother. It's not just bottom. You're not going to get relegated, are you, mate? I don't think so. Anyway, you're not, are you? Are you going to get relegated?
No, that's not the conversation we're having right now. But hey, after 3 games, you don't win the league and you don't get relegated, or you don't do that bad after 3 games. But hey, I think only 7 teams in history have gotten into Europe after losing the first 3 games of the season. So hey, if we do that, we could break history.
I would say quickly, at least Igal, as an Arsenal fan, they're learning from their own mistakes. You know, they used to be celebrating winning the league by Christmas, so you know, at least they're learning from their mistakes.
Yeah. I love that. Well, what I wanted to do today, guys, as I say, is just the transfer window closed Monday night. This is the first show after that. We've got no Premier League games at the weekend. Normally, what we would do is predict the weekend's games. So I just thought we would review the transfer window and where you know we think the winners and losers are. But first of all, what we'll do is just chat about each individual's team and where they're at. I think best place to start is probably Arsenal, because you know across Europe, am I right in saying, Igal, you've spent the most than any other team across the top 5 leagues? Is that right?
I think we have spent a lot of money, yes, but we also have brought in a lot of players. We brought in 6 players. Am I correct? Yes, we brought in 6 players. So it's like, of course, we're going to spend a lot of money because we brought in a lot of quantity. We brought in a quantity, not quality. I wouldn't say quality players, but quantity.
So I'm just having a look here. These are the players then you brought in. Nuno Tavares, Lokonga, Ben White, of course, Martin Odegaard coming back. Tomiyasu, which was a deadline day deal, and Aaron Ramsdale. Quite a lot of exit, a lot of them on loan. I'm assuming, you know, young lads, but the likes of David Luiz off the books, Hector Bellerin as well. I'm assuming that's loan with a view to a permanent.
Saliba, Saliba, Joe Willock.
Yeah. What's going on with Saliba, mate? Because I see all the time a lot of Arsenal fans waxing lyrical on this kid as though he's the second coming. Why isn't he getting game time? It's strange. Like, what's going on?
Listen, at 27 million pounds on a young center back, we cannot afford to be spending that type of money on a player and then them never playing for Arsenal. It almost seems like the club at this point, I don't think he's ever going to play a game again for us. I don't think he's ever going to play a game for us. He's never played a first-team game for us. He's played 1 game under Mikel Arteta, and it was a preseason game. It was a preseason friendly during COVID time. So at this point, I feel like he's come into the team, taken pictures, never played a game, and gone on 2-3 successive loans. He's lost like his mother and his father. Of course, that is a big blow for a young kid going to another country, but he just wants to get game time. And under Mikel Arteta, as long as Mikel's here, I don't think he's going to get the game time. He was a He was Emery signing to say, and Raul signing. So I just don't think the people in charge are backing this signing. And he's a very talented young man. Everybody in world football says Saliba is a great center back. We've seen what Fofana did, and he was rated higher than Fofana. So I don't get why we don't play him. I can't give you a straight answer. The situation with Saliba seems either political or something going on in the back room, because no fan can make sense of why Saliba has not been given a chance and why we spent 50 million on Ben White. He's almost a David Luiz replacement. He's a David Luiz replacement when it comes to his ball playing ability. He's English. We needed more English players on the pitch. And what's good, my guy from West Ham? How you doing, bro?
How are we doing? I'm so sorry, Joe, mate. Honestly, I've been having a head fit at the laptop for the past 15 minutes. But
don't worry, mate. I've had everyone let me down today. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
No, it was all on me, and I was like, no, I can't let him down. But the way it goes, man. It's the way it goes.
No, it's good. We're just chatting. We're just chatting Arsenal, mate. Just chatting about the transfer window. So you've come in at the right time, brother.
You should switch us, because I got the Arsenal thing, West Ham thing right here, and he's got the Arsenal.
Yeah. But yeah, so what? Talk to me about Ben White, because I was a massive stan of him. Of course I was, because he was phenomenal at Leeds United. Leeds United fans will tell you that. 50 million, it is what it is. Let me just ask David, what do you think on this 50 million thing? Because I backed it, because I was like, it's English tax, he's a great centre-back, he'll go to play for England, etc. But I'm going to say that because I guess I've got like Ben White blinkers on a little bit. What are your thoughts on that £50 million fee?
I'll be honest with you, I definitely think the English tax was added onto it and they paid double. I wouldn't be paying 50 million for him. I think Arsenal are in a position where they have to pay over the odds to be able to get in who they want to get in. But look, 50 million is a bit excessive. I'll be honest with you. Look, for me, I'd be talking about 25, 30 million, no more. But look, to be fair, it's kind of why Arsenal are where they are right now. They overpay their players, they overpay for some transfers, and they're not quite working out. And I get their frustrations. It's the recruitment. Look, we were in the mires last season and it was all down to recruitment. Things are starting to change. We got 8 players out, 4 in with another one that we bought that's back out on loan at Mets. And look, for the Ben White one, I just think he's overpriced. I really do.
And what about you, Corey? What are your thoughts on Ben White, mate?
I like Ben White. I do. I liked him when he played for England. I liked him when he played for Brighton. I think he's just a specific type of centre-back that a lot of teams now are exploiting. I find it weird they bought him. He's only played in a back three or only been successful in a back three, and they played him in a back two. Now, that Arsenal defence, aside from maybe Tierney, it is weak at the best of times. So I feel like he's been fed to the lions a little bit with Arteta. Every time you watch Arsenal, there's no protection either from the midfielders. Yeah. There's too much pressure on him. And the problem that Arsenal have got now is it will get toxic with him because he'll be led to blame. Teams will just... West Ham, Antonio go up right against him, compete with him physically, and he will struggle. But as a ball-playing centre-back, I think he's class, but maybe only in the right system.
Just quickly as well, just to add to that, I feel like I've seen it before with Arsenal when it comes to Chambers, when it comes to holding. I feel like I've just seen it time and time again before, and when are they going to learn their lesson? You have to buy right in these crucial positions. Is Ben White strengthening the Arsenal defence? Considering how much I think it needed strengthening, I wouldn't say so. I think it's just another average defender adding to the problem, to be honest with you. And that's no dig at a gal or anything like that. That's just the way I see it at Arsenal at the minute.
See, he did play in a back four at Leeds United. He did play in a back four at Leeds United. Admittedly, I understand it's Premier League and all that sort of stuff. But I think that's where Arteta said he'd first seeing him, obviously working under Bielsa. But I get what you guys are saying. I think it was quite interesting, obviously, seeing Brentford just go long, because they knew that they were rubbish in the end, and Brentford are not synonymous with going long and throwing balls up, in the air to Tony. Yeah. It's not something
they mixed up, mate, didn't they?
I think being harsh. I think you guys are being harsh on the whole situation with Ben White, because you have to realize he's 23 years old. I'm not saying he's worth the 50 million, but as you said, we have to pay over the odds for English players. We've had a situation where we've gone and gotten foreign center backs, foreign players come in and they never hit the ground running. So as much as we're going to critique the player, it's been one game that he's actually played. He hasn't played the other 2 games, and we have to wait and see. He's 23 years old. He could be well worth the 50 million. Look at Harry Maguire. People make fun of the 80 million to this day, but you can see the impact that he's made in that team.
Yeah. Look, I think Maguire gets. We all jump on it and we all like wind it up and that, but he's a great look. I know he plays for Manchester United, but he's a quality centre back.
Mate, honestly, in that Euros, he turned my opinion around against. I've got to be honest. Like, and again, it's similar with Ben White. Like, we judge Harry Maguire on the fact that he turns very, very slowly, and he still does turn very slowly. But in the right team and the right system, you get the best out of him. It's the same. It's more about Arteta, if I'm honest. It's more about Arteta getting the best out of the players that he's got, and if you can't do it, he's obviously not the right man. But I probably don't need to tell a girl that, unless he's a massive process inner.
No, stop this. The whole thing is dead. The whole process thing is dead. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be here and I'm not going to be standing on a pointless point. I'm not going to back this guy blindly forever. It's just, you have to understand, at a certain point, you have to say to yourself, it's not getting any better. Guys, 3 games in, we're bottom of the league. Like, as much as you want to banter us, we banter ourselves, so it's not going to hurt. We already know how bad it is. Last year, we said to ourselves, how could it get worse? You know what? It's getting worse. 3 games into the season, not winning before. You've been here before. You know how it is.
I'll tell you what annoys me a little bit, okay? I don't know how you feel, because I didn't expect you to go and beat City, and I didn't expect you to go and really put up a fight against Chelsea. But it intrigues me when Arsenal fans take the context out of it, because I look at it the whole of last season as well, and then Arsenal fans will literally zone in on the 3-4 games and say we've been bad here. But I'm like, you've been bad for a long, long time, or you've not been at the level that you should be.
No, but it's worse than that, mate. We got 0 shots on target against Man City. We had 7 in the 3 games. We've had 7 shots.
I'm not gonna lie. I hope it stays like that,
Look at it deeper than just Chelsea. Look at it deeper than just Man City, Chelsea, Brentford. Look at the actual gameplay. Look at the actual situation. I think these guys, they don't believe in the manager. I think a lot of them don't believe in themselves. And at this point, they just need anybody. Like, I don't think he can go into a dressing room and yell at these guys, because I think they don't have any respect for him at this point. And as fans, people who are still backing Arteta and saying trust the process, or there is people out there. Don't get me wrong. There generally is people out there that say that, but I don't see what they see. I used to think, up until the Villarreal game, I used to say, you know what, there's a chance where he can salvage this and turn this around. And at one point, he almost did, because our form changed. But we never got over that line. We never seemed to get over that final hurdle. And I think it's a mentality issue more than a talent issue at this point, because you cannot tell me that our players are not more talented than Brentford's players. That's just not a reality.
It's not even that. You're not competing to the level. I personally don't think you can get top 4, even if this squad was performing at its max. But it should be competing for top 6. It should be competing for 5th and 6th. The fact it's not is an indictment on Arteta, which I can't really look past.
It's still 3 games. Don't get me wrong. As much as you don't win the league in 3 games, you don't get relegated after 3 games. So let's not act like.
Listen, you need to start worrying about Norwich, mate.
Listen, if we can't beat Norwich, he has to resign. If he doesn't resign, someone needs to push him out.
To be honest, I thought he'd been sacked during the international break. But
would he have been sacked at Leeds?
Huh?
Would he have been sacked at Leeds by now?
Over the cup, if Arteta was in charge.
Yes, and you're in the same situation as us.
But you have to, for me, Igal, and I know, I get what you're saying, it's only 3 games, but what I'm saying is, and this is hard for me to say, because I always back my club, but this is Arsenal, bro.
Yeah, that's the mad thing.
This is Arsenal. That are bottom of the league, that have put 0 fight and have 0 plan. When I watch Arsenal, I'm like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? And moving forward as an outsider, I can look at it and go, well, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It's like, I don't understand what's going on here. So I thought, just the manner, I get you're not expected to beat Man City. I understand that. But I look at the manner in the defeat. The manner of the defeat and the way, come on. Them first 2 goals, Man City had to do nothing. I did a watch along on the channel. I was like, I bet they're like, how are we 2-0 up here? The ball came in, How's Callum Chambers getting? I mean, what's he doing? And Gundogan. And this is the thing, you know, people, when obviously you beat West Brom, and I heard people talk about, oh, everyone's going it with our full strength and they're under 23s. We were playing Kolasinac and all this sort of stuff. I watched, it was on 90 Minute, Harry. We played Kolasinac, we played Chambers, we played Holden. It wasn't our strongest team. You then play City and he's playing with the same fucking players. So that tells me the manager is like, what are you doing? You try to sell Kolasinac, and now you're starting him in a back three against City. You know, you've got your man Xhaka, who's coming out and saying, I want to leave and go to Rome. And he's playing him. I don't think he can manage egos. I don't think he can manage players. And the plan that he's putting out is just to pot. Like you say, a club of Arsenal stature to have 7 shots in 3 games, if that's what it is in total, that's insane, bro. And look, I'm a Leeds fan, so of course it'd be different. But I think for an Arsenal fan, and when you take into context all of last season as well, and then you've got to throw in the fact that you've spent the most in Europe's top 5 leagues and haven't improved.
That's
really
mad.
But I swear, when you look at like 2 of the losses, 2 teams changed up how they play to beat Arsenal. You look at Brentford, they went long ball. They're not a long ball team. They're a footballing team. City, how many times did they put the ball into the box? You never ever see them cross the ball into the box like that.
Yeah.
Very rare.
It was shots on target, not shots in general.
But even still, that's not good enough, is it? Like, you know, Leeds United went to the Etihad last season and won 2-1 in 10 men, you know. You guys went to 10 men and didn't do nothing. And I think that's what I mean in terms of Arteta, for me, just doesn't have a plan. And I think it's bigger than him. I think it is bigger than him because Edu looks, I don't know, is he clueless as well? You know, talk to me about Ramsdale, mate, the 25 million.
Listen, I don't know why I don't know why you're laughing about Ramsdale. Ramsdale, 22, 23 years old. This guy could be future England #1, or he could be a flop. Either way, at the moment, he's an upgrade on Leno when it comes to his ball playing ability. Shot stopper.
Well, I tell you why I'm laughing at Ramsdale quickly. You sold Martinez the season before to Aston Villa, your best keeper, and you spent more or less the same to replace him with Aaron Ramsdale, and now you're going to sit here and tell us that he's future England under 21, and you sold your best goalkeeper for the same price last season.
Listen, that happened because the club are incompetent. I'm not going to explain to you the logic in what they're doing. It makes no sense. When we need a defender, they go sign Pepe for 72 million. When we need a central midfielder, they go sign Ben White for 50 million. So clearly our fans' opinions and pundits and everybody else's opinions of what Arsenal needs and what we actually think we need is 2 different things. But the situation with Martinez, we had to sell somebody to get Partey in. We got Partey in. He didn't really improve us. If we would have kept Martinez and we wouldn't have gotten Partey in, we'd still be in the same situation, even with him in. And the club had invested so much money in Leno, they didn't want to just bin him off for nothing. Now we're going to have to bin him off regardless because he's not going to stay. And I was just going to end off by saying this. Ramsdale, decent signing, still a lot to see, but we spent too much money.
I agree with you, man. I think it is a decent signing, and people are saying second choice, when really it's not. It's first choice for when Leno goes. Do you know? I get it. And if Ramsdale has a great season, and you know, keepers are in short supply, get him now while you can. Do you know what I mean? I get that. I do. But just before we talk, I just want to get your opinion on Willian before we just assess, you know, your window as a whole. I get he's not done well. No, I get he's not done well, but I think he needs to have respect put on his name because there are many players, if I'm in Willian's situation, especially the way the fans have treated me, know that I'm sitting on that bench for them, whatever's left, and collecting them 20 million pounds. He's got rid of that. Not many players in today's football do that, bro.
That's a PR stunt. He's still making that. He's still getting that money. That's a lie. He's still getting that money in some way or form. In some way or form, there's no way you're telling me this. You're listening to this PR spin of Willian has chopped up his contract and said, "You know what? I'm going to be nice to Arsenal."
Who's paying him then?
It up. Somebody. He's getting somewhere. I believe the aliens might be paying him. Somebody's paying him.
You only work on facts, my man.
Don't believe the hype that In what world is it that a player just says, you know what, I'm going to walk away from the contract mutually?
People do, bro. People take pay cuts. Some don't. Like, you just have to look at, say, like Jack Rodwell at Sunderland refused to leave, and they went all the way down to League One, and he was just pilfering them. Whereas other players will go, do you know what? I'm not going to do that. I don't really need the money. Does Willian need the money? Probably not.
Okay, so I just tend to not believe that he actually would do that. I don't get me wrong. I respect him as a footballer for what he's done at Chelsea, but at Arsenal, he was never good. We should have never signed him in the first place. He's very inconsistent, and as a footballer, I don't rate a guy who can be so inconsistent. Maybe he's had a good career at Chelsea, but for what he's done, don't act like he's done us a favor or a good gesture. He came to Arsenal specifically to be a mercenary. And that's what he is.
But that's what happens when you offer him, what was it, 220,000 a week? It's nuts money, man. It's nuts. There's something shady about that deal. I don't know what it is, but there's something really odd to go and spend that amount. I could get it if it was 1 or 2 seasons, it's on a free, it's 100K. Maybe that's the going rate. But to double that, and with his agent and Arteta, I think Joe hit on the head earlier, the fact that there is something above Arteta, and as poor as he is as a coach, that's going on. And the fact you have spent that amount of money on the Ramsdale thing, I honestly don't rate him at all. I think we've just signed Areola on a loan. I think he's a better keeper. So I can't see.
Well, Look at the yeah, we will move on. But what about the Maitland-Niles situation? What's going on there, bro?
Okay, he just wants to play in the midfield. We want him to play him as a right back. Now he's going to get a chance to play in the midfield, and Arteta has said he's part of his plans because he did not want to send him out on loan to Everton, which he tried to push through by doing an Instagram post about why he wants to leave the club. That's what happened.
So is it not true that he's been made to train with the kids? Is that BS?
No, that is not true. He's actually part of the team. He's been on the bench for some of those games, and he played in the preseason game today in the midfield in a double pivot. So I would just say this.
Again, this is where it comes to, for me, the manager, because if that's a big, I look at players that have tried to go against what Bielsa said and they've been binned off. And maybe, look at Paul Pogba at Manchester United. Weren't he wanting game time? And Alex Ferguson just went, see you later, mate.
Out the door, mate. See you later.
And now Arteta's probably going to start Maitland-Niles in centre of parking against Norwich, and we're like, oh well, all you have to do is.
It does make sense though. He didn't want to send him to Everton because it's a mid-table rival, and he didn't want to.
No, but they didn't want to buy him. They wanted to loan him for 2 years, and he has 2 years left on his contract. Why would we accept that? That makes no business sense.
I don't understand how Maitland-Niles has fallen out with Arteta. Is it on Arteta?
Arteta has fallen out with everybody. He's fallen out with Guendouzi, Saliba.
Yeah, you can see here, Guendouzi.
I don't think you can just blame Arteta. I don't think you can just blame Arteta for everything, to be honest with you. Look, I get it. You will change manager and you probably will do a little better, but I don't think Arteta is the be-all and end-all of your problems. The problem is, if you look at the squad, you have a lot of players who I would say you have quite a few who make more mistakes than what they have good games. You have players that are speaking out against the club. Xhaka wanting his move. Maitland-Niles wanting his move. You have the recruitment has been poor for a number of years. Like, you guys have gone from the invincibles to goalless. That's a massive decline, and it's happened year on, year out. And for me, I just like every summer the problems don't seem to get fixed at Arsenal. They just seem to get worse and worse and worse, and you're declining at a rapid rate. And I think you struggle to get top half the table this season. I really do. I don't think you have the quality. Like, even if you look at the contracts you've been handed out over the last 5 years, massive contracts to players that are coming from Chelsea into a retirement home. They're using Arsenal as a retirement home. There's massive problems at Arsenal. I just think Arsenal fans probably need to wake up a little bit more and not just pin everything on this whole Arteta thing. Yes, you do need to change Arteta. I believe you do need to get a new manager. But the problem is bigger than Arteta. It's much bigger.
It is, right. So
it's Edu, it's the Cronkies, it's everything. But guys, can I just wrap up this Arsenal part? I'm just going to say this. Arsenal are never going to succeed as long as we have a weak board who's not willing to make proactive decisions, an owner who's not willing to pay for the top employees at the top of the game in the backroom staff, and as long as we have inexperienced people running the back room, we're going to be terrible. So I'm just expecting this to continue until they make major decisions, and it's just going to be heartbreaking.
Right. Before we move on, then, Gal, I want you signing of the window, mate. Who was your main guy? Do you think?
Signing of the window for us is Lokonga.
For Arsenal.
Yeah, for Arsenal is Lokonga, that young midfielder who came in and played well against Brentford. He's going to be Thomas Partey's understudy, and he's going to be asked to play a lot of games now because Granit Xhaka is out for 3 games. You're going to see a lot of Lokonga, Sambi, Albert Lokonga. Get to remember the name.
Mark me out of 10, your window as a whole.
Out of 10, I would have to say it's a 5 because we got 6 players in. That improves our overall squad. But when it comes to our first team, we only got 2 to 3 players tops that improve our first team.
David, score for Arsenal out of 10, mate. Window.
I'll be honest with you. I'll probably give them a 4. To be honest with you, look, they only got Tommy Asu because we allowed them to get Tommy Asu because we didn't actually want him, and we wanted Emerson. Look, Odegaard, I don't understand why he bought him. Look, he scored against Tottenham last year, but what else did he do realistically? I think they overpaid for Ben White. I really think they massively paid for Ben White. And look, I'll be honest with you, it's nice for me, but if we're listening to Arsenal fans and talking about their best signing is a Lechonga, who no one ever heard of before he came to Arsenal, it's sad days over that side of North London, I have to say. So 5, I'll give it a 4 out of 10, to be honest with you, probably a 3.
Corey?
Yeah, I'm going to go 4, mate. It's been a bit of a shambles. There may be a few ones like Ben White could recover under a different manager. I really like the look of Lokonga, to be honest. That's a decent bit of business. But again, there's money in the market. Like, you spend that amount, you should have got Basuma. You know what I mean? That's 40, 50 mil. If he comes in, there's no arguments. He should be playing for a top 6 club. So, again, I'm going to have to go 4 out of 10 for you lot.
We've got a few people in the chat. Harmony's gone 3 out of 10. Gamer Guy Ethan's gone 6 out of 10. I'll go with a gal. I'll say 5 out of 10. In the middle for me. Alison and Matty Adams have gone 4. I'll just quickly do Leeds United. So obviously brought in Jack Harrison, 11 million after having him on loan season after season from Manchester City, which I think is great business for his numbers. To get him in at 11 million is really cheap. Junior Firpo from Barcelona, 13.5. Again, we've not seen enough of him. He's been breaking down with injuries. He had COVID. I think, look, the thing is, when you come in under Bielsa, what he puts on you as a player, sometimes we do get players in the door and they do break down in that first season quite a few times. So that's a bit of a worry because he's our only really fully first team left back. Christopher Klassen, who came in for Kiko Casilla. Kiko Casilla has gone to Elche on loan. He's an absolute joke. But Christopher Klassen, young keeper, they looked at him when we were looking at Meslier, which we know how good Mellier's turned out to be. I know some people still question him, but bringing him in, he's France's under-21 goalkeeper, 5 million. PSG like him, Meslier, him and his agent did an interview to say, they'd been in contact. Chelsea tried to sign him a couple of seasons before he moved to Leeds United. So the world's his oyster, and for us, to pay 5 million for Meslier, and then we were looking at Christopher Klassen in that same ballpark. I think that makes me think, Klassen must be a similar level. But again, I've not seen enough of him. And then I was obviously on deadline day, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We secured the signature of Dan James, 25 million. A lot of Leeds fans think, it's overpriced. 25 million may seem a bit steep. I didn't think it would be that high. I was thinking between 15 to 20. But then I think about it, take a step back. Man United bought him for 15. They're probably going to want to make a profit on him. He's still 23-year-old. You look across the rest of the windows, players in that same age bracket, Emi Buendia, Tammy Abraham, Joe Willock, they've all gone for a similar sort of price. Yes, them players matter. I'm not sure with Joe Willock, but I think it's a good window. We got rid of Helder Costa on loan. He's not really done it, and we got rid of, Alioski and a few others. I'd have liked more. I'd have liked a centre midfielder. If I'm honest, because it's a bit square pegs in round holes. But I think the big one, obviously, for Leeds fans was Dan James. It felt like he should have always been here. Obviously, we signed him in January 2019. And then, I don't know if you guys know the story, but the Swansea chairman, Hugh Jenkins, just stopped picking up the phone. He fell out. He fell out with the Swansea owners, new American owners that they had in. They got rid of Willie. Do you remember Willie Bolly? No, not Willie Bolly.
Oh.
What was he called? Willie Bolly was at Wolves. The striker, Bolly at Swansea. What's he called?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh no,
Wilfred something. Wilfred Bonny.
Yeah, that's it. Wilfred Bonny, Leroy Fur, Dan James. Basically, they were these American owners were just selling them for pittance. So we came in for Dan James, and then Hugh Jenkins got wind of it, and basically stopped answering the phone. So Dan James was actually at Leeds. He did all his media duties. He'd signed the contract, everything, and then the deadline hit, and it couldn't get done. It was quite sad, actually.
Documentary. That was in the documentary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's quite sad because his dad was a Leeds fan. His dad's no longer, with us, and he was there and seen his son, and then it obviously all fell to bits. And then he went to Manchester United for 15 million. And really worked out there for him. And I think there's been said about Dan James. A lot of Leeds fans thinks he's no good but for me, it's hard for him to go from Swansea, a mid-table championship side at the time, to move to Manchester United. And he's playing with ballers like Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, all these names that are, for me, levels above him. So for him to be on the same wavelength as them, sometimes he's not. So when they lay a ball on and he's probably not ready. Do you know what I mean? And he can look maybe not at their level, but I think for Leeds United, he's
a lot to be said about Ollie, though, Joe. Let's be honest. Ollie,
yeah, exactly. That as well. Talk to me, Corey. What do you think?
I mean, I think you said it quite a few times to do with the coaching. I think it's a bit of it's too much money. Looking at it generally from an outsider in, I think it is a little bit overpriced, but I think it's a bit of a masterstroke. I think he's that type of Bielsa player, and I don't just think it's from, again, the system, the space that he'll have, the transitions, but I think if Rafinha ends up playing as the 10, teams are going to struggle with that type of thing, because I think with Leeds, sometimes when we play against you, it's almost, you've got your width in Harrison and Rafinha. If you can nullify that a little bit, it breaks down and Bamford will come deep. But if Rafinha can come to the 10 and Bamford can play a little bit more prominently, again, maybe you start to create a bit more. So I think for you lot, it's great. I think for Dan James, it's brilliant. I think there is a player in there. He was like that when he was at Man United the first time out. And it's interesting that Ollie played him against you lot when he had all the space. So he knows his strengths, and Bielsa will be able to not only knows his strengths, but the subtleties and the end product and things like that he has shown in the past at Swansea. I think it's a great signing for you lot. And at the end of the day, mate, to be honest, it's a real indictment of how much Bielsa rates him to pay that, and as a club, because a lot of clubs will go, I'm not paying. If it was West Ham, I'll be sitting there going, get him on loan, see him how he is, and then maybe 15, 20 mil next year. But you've just got straight out, pay it up, no worries, get him in. And I think it's a really good signing for you lot.
Yeah, I think the story goes, apparently we made 3 bids within quick succession. Like, as soon as we heard he was available, it was like, right, this, and it was done like that, which, like you say, for Dan as well, that can only be a positive, the fact that Leeds United wanted him in 2019, this coach still, is big on him. And I think you're right, mate. I think just his pace, man. Can you imagine us on the transition, on the counter and out? Oh man, I think he'll be lethal. The price might put a lot of people off, but I think maybe it's a gun right. We forget he's 23. He's 23.
Yeah.
In 5 years' time and his deal, he could be totally. I mean, we might end up selling him, bro, for more than the 20. Do you know what I mean? He could be that.
Let's play devil's advocate. If Rafinha left down the line, then you've still got a player there. Yeah. And for Leeds, where you're at, I think you want to be able to obviously build and bring in players for a cheaper price, maybe sell them on and reinvest. And the thing with Bielsa, I'm not being funny. You hear all this stuff. He's got documents left, right, and centre on him. You're going to come in and straight away be like, you're going to do this, and this, and then that's going to happen. So it might be quite seamless.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about Dan James is you have to understand, having a player with that extra element, with the pace that can get in behind, with the team that passes so well, there's always going to be that moment where he's going to be maybe offside a lot. And in the Manchester United team, they're not going to look at him as an option for every pass. Where at Leeds, you're not going to have as many players playing on the edge of that line. With the Rafinha on one end, or wherever Rafinha is going to play, is he going to majority of the time play on the left or the right now?
He plays on the right. That's what I'm saying. We don't know where Dan James fits in. I can't see Bielsa paying 25 million for him to sit on the bench So it might mean Harrison, Rafinha, they might interchange. We just don't know, you know. You never know with Bielsa. You might see him as a fucking left back. You know what I mean?
Call me crazy, but you remember when Everton had Lukaku and they had the system that they had with the pacey wingers. It could be a situation like that where you just have Bamford cleaning up all the goals and all the wingers doing the creativity and causing overloads in those areas. And with Rafinha on one side with his technical ability and Dan James with his pace, you'd have a balanced attack with those three in the team, because you really don't have as much. I'm not saying like I'm an expert on everything on Leeds. You'd probably be able to tell me more. But then James would bring an extra element with that pace and the fear factor of getting in behind all those left backs or right backs, whichever side he plays.
I think you're right in the respect that as well. You've got to think Man United just play low blocks week after week. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Leeds game, it's so open that in the transition, like Corey was saying on the counter, he's going to be lethal. And you made a point, Corey, about Bielsa having all these, stuff. Well, Junior Firpo, who played at Real Betis and then at Barcelona, said he'd seen more videos of himself in 2 weeks at Leeds than he'd ever seen in his career. So that shows you the kind of meticulous stuff that Bielsa puts on it. You know?
I actually think, though, the fact that he'll get to play week in, week out as well, more or less, will benefit him big time. From what I've seen with him, with glimpses with United, I actually thought it faded off near the end, but he had a great start to his United career, a very good start.
Yeah, he did.
Look, he's gone through a bit of a tough time. Look, I don't think you could probably get Dan, James any fitter, but somehow I think Bielsa will, and I really do think he'll fit in perfectly at Leeds. I think it's the club that he needs to be at right now in order to develop his career. I look at the price tag. I do think 25 million is a bit of a stretch. I do think it's too far, but what I would say is in 2 years, 2 or 3 years time, I think that probably will double. I think you do have one hell of a prospect on your hands there. And but it gives you strength in depth as well with Harrison, Rafinha, Dan James. At least with all of them, you have assists or you have a goal in them. So it's all good for Leeds. And look, he could even change it up. He might some games drop Bamford and against some of the bigger teams, maybe go for a bit of a counter attack and play a front three, Rafinha, James, and Harrison, or that the options there to be able to break on some of these teams quicker. And I just think it's a good sign, a very good signing for Leeds. And look, like you were saying about the keeper that you got in, like this guy is a guy that was at the club at 29. So that's 2 players you got in this window that you were looking at ages ago, and now it's coming in. So what I would say is I take from that you have a clear plan, you have clear players identified, and even if they're not available in the next window, you will go after them again, and so you're definitely building something. And I think you'll have an all right season this season. I don't think you'll be as good as last year. Don't get me wrong. I don't think maybe this year and maybe in not so much in January, but the next summer, I think you might have to rotate the squad a little bit more and get in some players, and then I think you will prosper. But Dan James is a good signing. I look at Junior Firpo, another one that could very well turn into a very good player for Leeds. And so for me, I actually think he's had a decent enough window, to be fair. Not great, but it's an okay window.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it is. I think for me, if we'd have brought in a centre midfielder, that'd have been perfect for me. But what's happened is Adam Forshaw, who's been injured for 2 years, he started to come back on the mend, and I think they've looked at it and thought, if he gets fitter, we'll be all right, which means we don't have to go spend. Because it's mad, because we were linked with a midfielder from the Championship, Lewis O'Brien from Huddersfield, for 8 million. The club bid 4 and said he wasn't worth 8, and then didn't bid any more. And we were like, we're skinned. And then on deadline day, boom. So it shows the club as well, like you were saying, there is a plan, because they're saying, well, we don't think he's worth 8 million, so we're not going to pay it. Whereas other clubs, you go, it's just 8 million, just pay it. But Leeds United, like you said, and I prefer that because we know what's happened. We've seen owners go mad, and we've ended up in League One from Champions League. So I'd rather it go about this way. And of course, people are going to mention it in the chat because I mention him every stream. But we missed out on Conor Gallagher. He chose Palace.
Trust me, Joe, when you watch him against your team, I'm telling you now, he's a good player. I would have loved
Mate, I told everyone this and they weren't having it, man. But look, if we'd have got him in, he's brilliant, man. Yeah. He's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Perfect for you lot. Energy levels unreal.
Oh, mate.
Levels
are ridiculous.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's how I felt when Benrahma went to West Ham. I wanted
he don't want to come to you anymore. You're beneath us. We're on the up, you're on the down. You got it right.
Oh, yeah, you're literally copying what I said. But
just let me enjoy it.
Yeah,
let me enjoy it.
Rate Leeds United window. Then I'm gonna go for 7 because we missed out on a midfielder. Maybe that's
6.
even high. 6.
I feel like
I've gone 6. It was an okay window. Like if we look at it and say Firpo comes in for Alioski, time will tell how good a signing that is. But it's definitely an upgrade from what we see. And then Dan James for me puts it over into the 6 because it's a player that you need. I think to get to a 7, you probably needed again another midfielder just for a bit of squad depth. But it's not a bad window.
No, Gal?
I think it's difficult to rate anything nowadays a 10. So based on that, I'm gonna say a 7 because I think a 7 is still good. 8 is where you get into getting a midfielder that is maybe underwhelming signing.
Yeah, David.
I think I'll give you a 6. Funny enough, you spent less than Arsenal and seem to have had a better window than them as well. No, look, for me, I definitely give you.
So was everyone else, mate.
No, look, you know what it is, again. Look, the fact is, I've watched Spurs fans bow down to Arsenal fans in the past and just accept all the abuse. I'm not doing that. I'm not that sort of fan. I'll give it, and especially now since you're below us, actually the strongest team in the league holding it up. Because now's the time to shine. Now's the time to come out of the woodwork. I've been telling Arsenal fans for years that you're on the decline, and they wouldn't listen. And now I think this is a year where it'll finally come to fruition, and that it does hit home. But no, look, I do think Leeds have had a better window than Arsenal. I'll give them a 6.
Good. I'm gonna revise mine and say a 6. I was being generous just because it's my football club, but I do think we missed out on that midfielder. A lot of people in the chat we've got 5, 6, 6, 5, 6, 4. Oh, that's Sadadi's a West Ham fan. That's why he's gone for. Yeah, he's a member as well, Corey, and he watches all my videos. Yeah, what a legend.
It's the Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips little link.
Exactly, bro. Like that, man. Like that. I love it. Cool. Right, let's talk then. We're going in alphabetical order here. So if my English is right, that means Tottenham. Tottenham? Yeah, Tottenham, not Spurs. We'll go Tottenham. Yeah, it don't matter anyway because W's ender.
Look, everyone knows exactly who we are. We're top of the league. That's who we are. Tottenham Hotspur. No, look, did we have a perfect window? No. Did I want more? Yeah. But at the end of it, I think we've had a decent window. Look, things couldn't have got any worse than what they got last season, especially for me as a Spurs fan. After the West Ham game, I know I had Corey on last year. That was a killer.
Funny enough, I never saw you again after that.
I had to go hiding, Corey. I had to go hiding.
I understand.
No, look, it was getting worse. It was getting worse. But if you think about it, with the manager situation that we had, and then the knock-on effect, then trying to get in-power teaching, then get players in. I actually think we've kind of salvaged this window, to be fair. Look, we have a massive problem in defence. We got rid of an agent, Toby Alderweireld. Look, he was 33. His legs were going. He was starting to make more and more mistakes. Great servant to Tottenham, forever love him. But it was time he had to go. And we got his replacement, long-term replacement, in Christian Romero from Atlanta. Look, this guy, Italian Serie A Defender of the Year. I think he had the most interceptions. He's very aggressive as well. He won't, like last year, we were just letting players get on the ball, run at us, and they'd just skin us without putting in a challenge and letting them have pop shots off. With Romero, that's not going to happen. Now, funny enough, he actually hasn't featured yet. He only came on for a couple of minutes at the end of the City game. He hasn't featured in the Premier League yet. But we've had an upturn in Dyer and Sanchez's form. How long that will continue, I don't know. But you can't fit Romero in until one of them prove that they're not, until one of them make a mistake. Then you go into the right-back situation. Look, we've cancelled the Serge Aurier's contract, who could potentially end up signing at Arsenal. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That he could potentially end up at Arsenal. And if you look at what his message was, he did say, "I'll see you very soon," with a winky face. So that'd be very interesting to see where he goes. But look, that guy had to go. He walked out of the dressing room against Liverpool last year at half-time. He hasn't been a good servant to Tottenham, in my opinion. I've never really rated him. I think he was always up for mistakes. So cancelling his contract, I think, was a good bit of business. Tanganga has done the job.
Can I just ask you a quick question? Because I follow them on Twitter. I've been on them. Tottenham Hotspur TV. Yeah. They put out a tweet saying, like, sort of backing him a little bit in saying that people going mad of him possibly going to Arsenal when really we don't have a right because the club haven't supported him by terminating his contract. Do you go along? I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but obviously I'm impartial. What would your thoughts be if he did rock up at Arsenal? Are you saying
we don't want him?
Do you know what? To be honest with you, it is the sort of person that he is, in my opinion. You know, he is that sort of person. You know, he's going to look. He's going to end up with the Judas title next. You know, like Saul Campbell did. But for me, look, we terminate his contract. We clearly don't want him. At the end of the day, he has to get paid, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, I couldn't care where the guy goes. He has to make a bit of a living. And probably, you know, just bring more mistakes to that Arsenal defence. That benefits the rest of the Premier League as well. But look, Tanganga has come in at right back for Tottenham. He's been absolutely brilliant. He pocketed 140 million against Man City. He put Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling in his pocket. You know, after the game when he was getting on the bus, he had the two of them in headlocks. They had to beg him to let them go back to City. But we brought in Emerson now, that prospect from Barcelona, who they actually bought and spent the last 2 years on loan at Real Betis. So we have him coming on, and he will provide a more attacking option at right back for Spurs, which would be absolutely brilliant. Look, centre midfield, we got rid of Moussa Sissoko, which I think had to be done. He had to go. His time was up. We still kept Harry Winks. I'm not happy with that. And I probably would have liked
another. He was offered to Leeds, you know.
I know. Why didn't you take him?
Well, yeah, Bielsa went, nah, no, thank you. Which I thought was strange, though, because I'd have thought it's an extra body.
No, honestly.
Midfielder.
George,
I thought Harry Winks was good enough to play for England. That's what Spurs fans told me.
No, not me. You haven't watched me again. Look, I hate this guy. I don't think he's good enough whatsoever. I actually don't think he's even going to make it in the Premier League, to be honest with you. I think he needs to go abroad to stay in one of the top leagues. This guy, he just gets his pocket picked every single time in the Premier League. He's not physical enough. And he plays with his back to goal. He doesn't take the ball on the half turn. So that's why he's always playing safe passes. But when he gets caught on the ball, it's dismal because of the position we play him in. We play him in a deep role. So if he gets caught, which a lot of times he does on the ball, you know, teams just break on us and tend to score. He actually cost us that goal out in Pacos de Ferreira in Portugal in that humiliating defeat. He played in the Colchester defeat under Pochettino, which should never have happened. He's played in the Zagreb defeat last season, which should never have happened. He played in the Antwerp defeat last season in the Group Stage Europa League, which should never have happened. So for me, look, this guy, we have to get him gone. And I was actually, you know, I was thinking of you guys when I heard he was linked with Leeds, and I was about to send a message and say, you know, do all you can, put a word in Bielsa's ear to get the guy down there, but it didn't happen. But one thing I will say is Ollie Skip that's come in has been unbelievable since he's come in. Provided that bit of bite in midfield beside PRM and Højbjerg that we needed. Of course, we had him out on loan last year, and he's come in. I think he's been like a new signing for Tottenham in that midfield, if I'm honest. Then you look at Brian Hill. Look, Lamela was a player everyone wanted gone. Look, he provided work rate last season. I would say arguably last season was probably one of his best seasons in the Spurs jersey out of 8 seasons being here, which is not really saying much. So for me, I was delighted to get him gone. But then to get in Brian Hill, this guy from Sevilla, unbelievable signing. We watched him against Pacos de Ferreira in the Europa League, and I'm not messing, guys. He honestly reminds me of Luka Modric. You know, the hair, the way he plays, the way he drops into the pockets, pick up the ball. He's absolutely brilliant. And I do think over the course of this season, I do think he'll find himself in the first team. And I do think we'll be relying on him heavily. I think he'll be a right talent. And then, you know, of course, with Hugo Lloris's contract up, he has 1 year left on his contract. No one actually knows what he wants to do. So we've got Galini in. It's on a 2-year loan. And then we pay 15 million at the end of the 2-year loan. And he's ours. Obviously, if he meets a certain amount of appearances, you know, we have to pay that 15 million and trigger that. But it solves the Hugo Lloris situation beyond the summer, because if we were going into the summer and Lloris didn't sign a new contract, we would have been going looking for a keeper, and we would have been extorted. We would have been paying overpriced for whatever goalkeeper we wanted.
You just signed Ramsdale.
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely delighted we stay away from him.
You wish you could get Ramsdale. Let's be real. You guys don't spend money.
We have Hugo Lloris. and you think my wish Ramsdale. Come on, Egal.
No,
Look,
no. Let's
I don't want to have a bit of crap.
for a second. 1 second. I've been listening to you the whole time. Let me throw myself. I'm gonna say this honestly. Spurs, you can look at their window at 2 ways. One, you can look at it, they solved a lot of their areas. Another way you can look at it is they knew if Harry Kane left, they would be scrambling for another couple positions. So they're lucky that Harry Kane stayed. Number two, they got a center back, a good center back, don't get me wrong, but none of us has seen him play yet in the Premier League. You have to rate him on what he does in the Premier League. You can't just rate him on what he's done in Italy because we don't know we don't know how he's going to transform when he comes to the Premier League. Number three, when it comes to your actual signings, Harry Gill, young player, I don't really know what
Messi. To you, it's Brian Gill Messi.
Hey, whatever you want to call him, at the end of the day, this is a youngster that you're putting a lot of pressure in to be your spark to help you throughout the season.
A lot of Spurs fans aren't putting pressure on him. I'm saying it. This is my opinion. A lot of Spurs fans
But you haven't really improved your team. If you're going to talk about Arsenal not improving their team, how have you improved your team when you removed Toby Alderweireld from your team? When, yes, you got a new right back. That's great. But besides the right back, you haven't really improved your whole entire squad. Let's be real.
Well, look, you bought Aaron Ramsdale, you bought Odegaard, who done nothing last season.
I'm talking about Tottenham. We spoke about Arsenal.
I wouldn't be talking about our window, guy. You're bottom of the league. Look, just let me enjoy this. Top of the league. Let me just do the transfer.
Let him have his trophy. Let him have his trophy.
Forget about Arsenal right now. We're talking about Tottenham. So I'm going to talk about Tottenham. Let's talk about it. This is the issue. You guys are making it seem like you had a 10 out of 10 window. You had nowhere near a 10 out of 10
I haven't even given my rating. You don't even know my rating
yet. So you're gassing. You can't gas every single player and then say, you know what, this window's been great.
Well, I haven't even given my rating. You have to let me finish. I haven't got to the cons yet. I'm only doing the pros here. For the pros of the window, look, with Galini, like I was saying, we do have that situation sorted out after Hugo Lloris leaves. And then you look at Pape Matar Sarr. Look, I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about the guy, but a lot of big clubs were looking at this guy and we got in there early and we have loaned him back out. But cons, now this is what a guy wants to focus on, so we'll get on to this. Look, for me, striker, it's glaring obvious. I would have liked a striker. I would have liked I think we could have made an attempt for Danny Ings. I think we could have made an attempt for an Edouard, who ended up at Palace. But look, I would rather, realistically, I know if Harry Kane gets injured, you could put Son up top. You do have that option there. I would rather, for instance, rather than bringing in another Carlos Vinicius on loan, who only played the Europa League games, I would rather give that chance to Dane Scarlett. I really would. But at the same time, look, when I'm looking at the striker situation, ideally, I would have liked one in, but with Tottenham, I've seen so many times we've gone out, we've panicked, we've brought in these players that we haven't really done our homework on, and it's backfired on us. So I'm at the point now where, look, we fixed, I'd say, half of our issues. We haven't fixed them all. We fixed a bit of the issues. And for me, I'm actually going to give our window a 6 out of 10 because I would have liked probably another centre midfielder. I probably would have liked another striker. And if I'm being picky, really picky, I probably would have liked another winger. But we were always going to be in a situation at the end of the window where no matter what
it was all about keeping Harry Kane, bro, wasn't it really? Though?
I'll get onto that 100%. No, but look, we were always going to be at the end of a window where we were never always going to fix all the issues because there was so much to fix. But I think we've definitely made a dent into it. And as well, getting rid of a lot of the deadwood. We've got rid of 8 players, which is a massive, massive plus for Tottenham as well. Look, Harry Kane is obviously the biggest one for me. Do you know what? It's one that's actually split a lot of opinion in the Spurs fan base, this guy. A lot of people are saying, look, just sell him on, get the replacements in, and let's just go again. Nobody's bigger than the club. For me, I don't agree with what Harry Kane done, but for me, if you're Tottenham Hotspur, you have to try and, if we're always talking about trophies and trying to get, back into the Champions League, trying to challenge for the league title, we have to be keeping our very best players and building around them. We didn't build that stadium to sell Harry Kane, to sell your best players. So the fact that we kept them and kept them away from City's dirty oil money, I'm absolutely delighted because usually if they go after their man, they get him. But of course, we have look, Daniel Levy, who virtually, look, I do actually believe if they probably would have tested Daniel Levy with the 150 million, we probably would have sold, if they would have paid the 150 million up front. But the fact of the matter is, City just didn't have the 150 million to pay up front. So look, we're stuck with Kane for another year, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And I have to say, probably is our best bit of business, I would say.
Longer than that, mate. He's going to be there for a long time. You ain't going to get that money again. That's the thing. That's the one thing with it.
I hope so.
No, I bet you do. I bet he's gutted he doesn't win anything in his career. That's it now. He's done and dusted. But it's good for you lot to get top 6.
I think it's a mistake. I think you guys should try to move on from Harry Kane and rebuild the team eventually. But if you're going to hold on to him, you need to go for it. And you guys almost half go for it. You never really do go all the way in with the investment. And if you're rating at 6, I think that's a fair analysis, a 6. But I would just go, you know what? Looking at the quality of players that you guys brought in and the fact that you might still be underwhelmed because you still haven't improved all your areas, that's a fair score. But I would have given it a 5. I still think there's a bunch of teams that have had better windows, such as a Chelsea, Manchester United, Leicester. So I'll still put you up there with some of the best windows this window. But hey, I just don't think the quality of players you guys brought in are as good as what you think they are.
No, look, that's just my opinion. Look, if you actually go to the Spurs fan base, there's a lot of people that are giving your assessment to the window as well. So it's kind of one that it's splitting the fan base right now. But at the end of the day, when we come back to beat Palace, we'll all be back together singing in one voice and be top of the league again.
Yeah.
Love it. Corey, what are your thoughts on Spurs' window, mate? Is it for me, it's all just about keeping Harry Kane, man.
Yeah, no, I actually was going to go a bit higher. I was going to go like a 7 out of 10 just for the Harry Kane. And it does pay me to say it, but I think Spurs did the right thing getting a director of football in. I think that was important. I think Levy had gone down that route of he'd backed Poch, then that fell apart, and Kane's on a 6-year deal, and he doesn't know how to build anything. So he's had to strip it back and get some guy in.
He scored for England as well, by the way. 2-0. Kane's just scored.
Kane, of course he did.
Of course he did. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's smart from them how they're trying to restructure. Agal's right about Romero. What we hear is he's one of the best centre-backs in Serie A. But again, we don't really know. And it has surprised me a fair bit, Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer actually trying to defend properly again. And that's credit to Nuno, because we sat here a couple of weeks ago about Nuno. And I've always said on that point, I don't think it's a bad appointment. It may not be what Tottenham fans wanted. It's not a Conte, but it's a safe pair of hands. But other than that, I mean, Kane's the big thing. As long as you have, and we saw with Mourinho last year, Kane and Son, you'll be all right. And let's see. I think your midfield's a little bit weak, if I'm honest. I think Ali's done well since he's come back. Skip's a bit of an unknown entity.
No, but trust me. This guy, go and watch his 3 games. He's been one of our best. He's probably been our best midfielder in all 3.
But I don't think that's if we're talking about where Tottenham think that they should be. I'm not convinced that as a whole. I like Højbjerg, but I don't know. It's just and Ndombele's not playing now. He's thrown his toys out the pram. He doesn't want to be there anymore. I think Spurs, for them to go and be where you think you should be at the top 4 or whatever, they're going to take, I reckon, 2, maybe 3 years. I honestly think it will take that long because it is going to. There will have to be a rebuild, and it's a long time since you had the Poch 2016 team where I was watching it thinking, God, I hate Tottenham, but the team is solid the whole way through, and you couldn't debate it. So I think you've got a way to go, but as far as that, keeping Kane, keeping Son on a new contract as well, I think it's a good window for you lot.
Can I just mention one thing before you go, Joe? When it comes to Tottenham, how are we looking past the debacle with their 13 managers that they tried to hire? In that aspect, it was terrible. But you know what? Everything afterwards, you guys recovered quite well.
Yeah. Look, to be honest with you, look, a lot of us
wanted to get that in before he had to leave.
Look, I've come to expect it from Arsenal fans always talking about the past because the present is so gloom and doom. I get it, but look, the manager debacle, I'll be honest, it was an absolute joke. It was a shambles. It put our club in a bit of a circus, like, to be honest with you. But I expected it. I always said, if you sack Mourinho and Pochettino, anyone looking out from the outside in at the club would say, well, 2 world-class managers after sacking, it can't just be the managers. There has to be a deeper issue there. And when you're looking at Tottenham, the deeper issue, you're talking about a lot of players that were at Tottenham for far too long, that never really deserved to be at a club for that long. You're talking about a Lamela there for 8 years, spent about 6 of them injured. you know what I mean, or crying about his dog that died back in 2015 or 14. Like, you have Harry Winks, who should not still be there. He shouldn't be there. Ben Davies has been there 6-7 years, only ever been a backup. Moussa Sissoko, okay, he wasn't great when he came. He had that good season on the Champions League run, but has declined since then. Serge Aurier there for too long for what he's done for the club. And I do think that we're starting to shift that, where we're getting players out that have probably not necessarily they don't care for the club, but just lost their way or just stopped, maybe lost their love for the club a little bit along the way. And we're starting to replace that now with some of these new guys coming in, and we're looking forward for a new generation and a new rebuild. Look, it was never ever going to be done in one window. I do agree that it probably will take 2 or 3 years. But just with the signings we've got compared to what we've got in the past, like if you look back at the window we had previous, out of 7 signings we got in that window under Jose, Højbjerg and Reguilon that have worked out. This season, I firmly believe Galini will work out. I firmly believe Romero is going to work out. I firmly believe Brian Hill is going to work out as well. And I firmly believe Emerson will work out. So I think
that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of people to work out.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you do good recruitment, Igal.
This is where I think it's interesting, though. You got Nuno on the 2-year deal, and I don't think there's any indication that he's going to be there long term. He's just keeping it warm. And I think when you bring in that director of football, you long term, and the thing is, you fluked it. Let's be honest with Poch. Poch is a world-class manager. He comes in and he's put together this team, and all of a sudden you're competing at the top end of the table. But it's not sustainable because the minute he goes, you see how it falls apart so quickly. So I think doing that director of football is a big thing, because even in 2 years' time, let's say Tottenham, for devil's advocate, they start competing again with the top 4, you'll be able to attract that bigger name. But it was very, very enjoyable watching about 30 different managers reject you. I can't lie.
Just on the 2-year thing with Nuno, I actually think you're going to see a lot of clubs do this from now on, because, look, gone are the days where, an Alan Pardew was getting an 8-year contract at Newcastle United, or I think it was, or managers getting 4 or 5-year contracts unless they're the proven real deal, because clubs are looking to protect themselves more and more nowadays. And with a 2-year deal, if it hasn't worked out over that period, you're probably talking about, if it's not working out, you're probably going to give them a year and a bit maybe, so you don't actually have to pay out as much. Whereas if you're giving them a 5-year contract and you're sacking them after a year and a half, compared to what you have to pay them out, I actually do think you're going to see this a lot more with managers, unless you're one of the top guys.
It's a fair assessment. Igal, do you need to exit?
Oh, I was gonna head off in like 3 minutes. My wife was doing some stuff. Sorry, but yeah, I wanted to really get into West Ham. I think I like what West Ham.
Bigger than these two lot on the side there at the minute. We're doing all right.
Talk to us then. We'll let you have your piece on West Ham before you exit, Igal.
Oh, and how did I forget about Manchester United too? Yeah, so I think when it comes to the teams that done the best business, you look at everyone, you look at every club, it has to go Manchester United, then it goes Chelsea, then it's a free for all between Leicester and everybody else after that, right? But at the moment, there's a certain club that I just respect what they've been able to do with how they run their club. They were when David Moyes came in, West Ham looked like they were in trouble. They looked like they were a relegation situation. You were battling near the bottom of the table. There's so much toxicity, and it's just the way that he's been able to steer the ship. Now, how many players have you even gotten out? I don't know how many players you've gotten out, but to get in Kurt Zouma, who's a top player in my mind, don't get me wrong. Am I correct? But Ben Rama's official now, right?
Yeah, it was official in January, but yeah.
And then what else did you do? Because I'm just like, it almost looks like you didn't have to do too much, but you sustained your levels.
You're spot on. Like, it's mad in the end that we net spend. Look, there we go. Craig Dawson, technically, I think we signed him during the season, but yeah. And then we've signed a couple of young players in there. I think you've got Thierry Neves, so you probably won't see him for a while. But other than that, obviously the main 4 senior signings. It's just clever. Look, Gal, I can't lie. It's tough with our owners because it never feels like there's any structure. But what David Moyes has done, and I've always said this, it doesn't just apply for West Ham, but any club. If you want to build squad depth, you bring players in that genuinely will compete for the first team. Now, we've seen Fabianski's out of contract next season. You bring in Areola. He's a top keeper for Fulham. He's 28. He's got years on him. He overperformed massively last year. So there's, again, an option for West Ham. Zouma, I think, will be our best signing because Craig Dawson, look, when you watch him, he has his limitations, and Zuma just gives us another element. You see how we're playing this season on the front foot, a little bit more expansive. You need a centre back there who's aggressive, that has recovery pace, and he does. So that's an improvement. Vlasic is a bit of an unknown entity. That's the only one where I can't say too much about him, but we spent a lot of money on him, and from what you can see,
it's a lot,
everything I can see about him, stats and YouTube clips, basically, he fits in with all of our attacking midfielders. Going into the box, making late runs. Antonio comes to the left. He'll get in. Shots from distance, penalties, free kicks, creates chances. Perfect. Because the reality is we still don't have that number 9. So unfortunately in this window, why it's not a perfect window for West Ham is because we didn't go and get that forward. But again, Moyes has settled that for Vlasic because he thinks that he's not going to spend money on a forward that he doesn't rate. And then I think just that build of it, and Krau's a clever signing. It's a loan. It could work out. We needed squad depth at centre midfield.
He looked good in the Euros, Crow. He looked good in the Euros.
No, he was bad.
You don't think?
No, not at all. But I don't want to rule him out because I know that there's something to be said, particularly with the way Moyes is building the squad about sort of team morale. And you've got 3 Czech players there. You've just brought Areola and Zuma in. You've got a French connection kind of there. There's little sort of, I'm not saying clicks within the squad, but allows people to integrate quite quickly. And that's something he's been so astute with, David Moyes. He hasn't just gone and said, I'll have him and I'll have him. He's thought about, A, do they fit in with the style of play? B, will they fit in with the squad? But C, he's not going to bring anybody in that disrupts that. And I honestly think this gives West Ham the opportunity to go and compete for possibly top 6. It's a huge ask. It's ridiculous. And I don't think we'll personally do that. But you never say never, because I think the way that we're playing this season with the right recruitment, maybe we can sustain it. We can sustain at least top half. And Gal, you're bang on. We were 17th when he took over. If you're telling me we finished 9th or 8th this season, I literally cannot complain, because I know for a fact Moyes will go and get that striker next summer. He'll go and get a left back, and then we'll be ready to go again.
Let me look at it this way. Aston Villa sold Jack Grealish, spent 100 million last window, and they're just competing at the same level as you guys. So it just goes to show you that, like, your team, your squad is really good. And the reason why it's so good is not only because of the players that you have, it's because David Moyes is heavily disrespected. And it's not only about the transfer window you can have. A manager is crucial. And that's why Arsenal right now, we're suffering. That's why certain teams are suffering. Well, where what you guys have done with the manager that you have, the owners that you have, the lack of investment that you have, and the players, the way that they have not regressed at all. They've improved so dramatically.
It's an interesting point.
A healthy environment.
We've improved not only in results, but we've actually improved in the way that we're playing football now. And I've seen that continually now for nearly 2 seasons, where we're getting to a point where you're thinking we are actually playing some attractive stuff. We are starting to score goals. Yeah, we're leaking a few, but with the right tweak, we'll be all right. And that's David Moyes. And he is, but he's one of them coaches that needs, I think he needs to.
I'm going to have to head out, but I'll say this. I've never liked tuning into West Ham games as much as I have since the back in the day when you guys had what's his name? The guy who went to Marseille.
Payet.
Since Payet days, the best days for West Ham that I'm witnessing. And I hope you enjoy it, man. Genuinely.
I'm buzzing, mate.
Thank you, man.
There you go, guys. Have a good one. And I had Leeds finishing 5th. I think I'm gonna have to replace that with West Ham now.
Yeah,
in my dreams, mate.
Anyways,
finishing 5th. See you later, mate. Cheers, buddy. Thank you, Egal. We're up close and personal. Is that all right for everyone? Corey, you didn't get Lingard, mate?
Yeah, no, I am. I think it's more on Lingard than it is on us, if I'm honest. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand why he wants to stay at Man United and not play regularly. And I think it's interesting because you see the business that we did with Krau. I think we could have got Lingard on a loan. I think that's something that we definitely would have done. And if he wanted to come to West Ham, he would have been here. And then we'd be sitting here saying West Ham have got some serious options. So I'm gutted for him, but at the same time,
maybe you wouldn't have gone for Vlasic though if you'd have got Lingard.
No, but this is what I'm saying. I think we could have done because of the loan prospect. That's the only reason why I would say. I think Vlasic is actually a clever signing from Moisey because he's decided to spend, rather than spend 25 on Lingard, he's going to spend 33 on a 23-year-old with a lot of potential that's already proven it out in Russia. So I actually think from that point of view, it was clever. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't have got Lingard. And I think the way we would have used Lingard, we would have used him as a false 9. But that would have to be our forward, our rotation option. So I'm gutted from that point of view. But even for him, mate, I've got to be honest, he's going to be sitting there come January thinking, I played what? Couple of games, maybe a couple of cup games.
Stupid, isn't it?
And he's too good a football player. I'm telling you now, I know he's overhyped and he does the silly dancing. I do understand that, but he's a much better football player than he gets credit for. And it took me by surprise. So it's not just a West Ham thing. If he could go out and play for anyone, he should have done it. So he'll regret it, I think.
We've got Sir Danny as well, who's a West Ham fan. He said we got a new person to handle the transfer business, and our owners are taking a step back.
That's a long-term thing. So we've got a new head of recruitment who was, I think he was at either Man City or Norwich or both. So I think that's been impressive, and he'll take over now. Moyes has kind of steadied the ship, but I've got to be honest, who knows? I think Moyes will obviously have his involvement. I think I've seen when we got Vlasic, or we were at least recommended, apparently it was Steve Walsh from Everton that recommended him to Moyes. So there are little things there as well. But it's not just that. I mean, it's the decision to bring players in. We could have brought Milenkovic in for 17 mil, who was a fantastic centre-back for Fiorentina. And he said no, because he wanted this type of player. And I've got to give credit to Moyes. You get to a level where you think, can I really even question this guy anymore? Because every time, look at our business since, I think it was the January when we were really struggling. Soufal, Souček, Bowen, Dawson, Benrahma, Lingard, and then Vlasic, Krau, Zuma, Areola. So I think fair play to him. He's probably coming in the most difficult position as a club, other than maybe Newcastle in the league, and he's got us playing football. And we play some seriously good stuff. Take the Palace game out of it.
You were great against Leicester, though. Great,
beautiful. Maybe we just got tired. Like there's certain permutations, but at the end of the day, I think you see in that game the tiredness. There were, even when I was there in second half, the players, I think we lacked the energy, and Palace had that extra give. Who's to say we can't start rotating now? Because the thing is with Moyes, he won't rotate unless he trusts his players. So he has to have a squad that he trusts. It's not good enough having Yarmolenko, because he don't really rate him that much. So but I could talk about West Ham for hours, mate.
So Danny says the problem was with Manchester United, not Lingard. Manchester United have stated that he is in their plans and they weren't selling him. I think, there may be an element of truth for that, but if Lingard said to them, I want to go play a game, they'd have had to let him go, because he's
that's
not,
where I go.
He's not getting enough at Manchester United, definitely not. Just before we wrap up then, guys, who else? David, I'll come to you first, because I know people have got to go on that. Who for you had the best window, not out of ours, but just in general, the whole league?
Look, for me, I actually think United's had a very good window, to be fair. Look, we all know they needed that bit of a pacey defender beside Maguire. They've got Varane in the door. They went and got, of course, the big one, the big man up front, Cron 7, CR7. Look, for me, I actually think it's a masterstroke of a deal, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because when Sir Alex Ferguson left, United lost their way, and they're clearly trying to go back to the old United way, where they have the standards, the morals, and all this sort of jazz that they like to pump out every now and again. I think they're going back to that, and I think the first move was by bringing in Oli, but I do think Ronaldo, and he's going to be a great influence for the likes of, you're talking Rashford, you're talking Greenwood, players of that ilk. He's going to be massive to them. But even when he doesn't play, they still have Cavani to put in there, and even though he's another old guy, his movement is next to none. He still gets goals. Bringing Jadon Sancho in out wide has been a massive, move for them. I think United have had a pretty good window. I think you look at the three of the main players they brought in Varane, Ronaldo, and Sancho. It's all positions they needed, and look, they went and got them. So absolutely brilliant business by United, I have to say. I think.
And worst window for you?
Worst window, I'll be honest, I think Newcastle. Look, they got in, Joe Willock, 25 million I believe they overpaid for them. And then what's the other one they got in? Some Munoz guy or something like that.
Santiago Munoz, the guy who did the movie, right?
It's a PR
stunt, mate. From that goal movie, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. That was his name, wasn't it? And I thought it was a wind-up, and then I'm seeing it here, what's the crack? Do you reckon it is just PR, Corey? Look, Joe Willock.
It's ridiculous.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I've got to be honest. Yeah. Willock is a good signing. It's just not. There's just not enough in there for me.
Just quickly, lads. Do you think that maybe Mike Ashley doesn't give a hoots if they get relegated? Because would it not be easier for him to be able to get the deal over the line to sell the club?
That is true. That is true. I saw something saying that part of the fee that they gave to Willock was from the consortium that are trying to purchase them. So this consortium is still, and I think goes to arbitration in Jan. So maybe it's in the interest just to drop for one season.
Yeah.
And then get them to. I feel from a little bit. You talk about other takeovers, how seamlessly they've gone through, and yet with Newcastle, I feel for their fans as well. That club's been struggling for years. So
yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
But I think they could get relegated, man. I think they could. Yeah, that's a couple of injuries, they'll be gone.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Corey? Best and worst, mate. Who's the best?
Best. I'm gonna go. Compelling argument with Man United, I've got to be honest, but I think they missed the trick not getting a defensive midfielder. And I mean, bits watching Fred play football, I've got to be honest, it's hilarious. So I can't go there. I think Chelsea, they needed a striker. They create a load of chances.
Yeah.
I think Lukaku's in his prime. He's going to cause us nightmares. He'll probably get 20 goals this season. I think that was perfect for them. I think they brought Sale in as well, and I think that's
look at all them outgoings.
I know, and that's the thing as well. They've not spent really anything out of the owner's pocket. It's all been
28.1 million net spend, 103
yeah.
spent, 131 in. So
the worrying thing about Chelsea is you look at their team, and they were going to get the centre back in, weren't they? They were going to get Koundé in. Had they got Koundé in, I think this would have been a perfect window because the squad depth's so strong. And even getting Saul in it, I mean, that's quite clever because he's a bit of a number 6, plays for Atletico, needs a new challenge. Now you're looking at Kante, Jorginho, Saul, and Kovacic. These are rotational.
Insane, innit, that?
So I think for them, Lukaku puts them as title contenders. As far as poor window, I can't look past Newcastle was a massive shout. I think just not enough business. Really, I'm struggling to think. I think Southampton would have been the other one, but I think that was more of there are more risks involved. I think they may pay off. I think Livramento is a quality signing. I mean, the fact they brought him in and he's literally took like ducks of water already. So I think maybe they'll be all right. But yeah, I'm gonna go Burnley. Maybe Burnley. Or is that
all of there?
Is that too hard?
Maxwell Cornet.
I think they're going to struggle. I know they did well against Leeds, but it's just something about them where I think if they get a big injury to a Chris Wood or a Barnes, not enough squad depth there.
We say that about them every year, and they just hang on, though. They hang on.
I know, they just won't go away, mate. But Dyche is in his last year, isn't he? So I think after this year, they might struggle. 12, look,
Aaron Lennon on a free.
Maxwell 12 mil on Nathan Collins as well.
Yeah.
Connor Roberts could work out to be a good signing.
Yeah, that's quality signing.
Roberts, yeah. Definitely.
Is that 2.6 for Connor Roberts?
2.6, yeah, that's what
it's
saying.
Clever.
Yeah.
That's clever business, mate.
Yeah. I think for me, just to finish, I think I would have to go along with you, Corey, in terms of Chelsea, just because the depth in the midfield now and also Lukaku instantly makes them title challengers. I think when we were predicting our season predictions, it was all on whether or not they brought in a striker. And they did, right? I think Crystal Palace's window's been fantastic as well. Elise, the Anderson, Will Hughes, Conor Gallagher, of course, that Osman Eduardo as well.
Do you still think Vieira will go first, though?
Well, he's still my pick. He is still my pick.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm just asking. I wonder whether...
he is still my pick, bro. This is what I mean. I just... Yeah, what's he got? A point on the board?
Yeah, against West Ham.
Point against you guys? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I thought, after watching Arsenal play Manchester City, I know Arsenal are invested in this process so much, but I just felt after that result, surely he'd get the boot, and he hasn't. So that then means probably Vieira. And as for worst, right, and I know it's going to be a brutal one, and people won't agree, but I'd have to go Liverpool. And the reason I say Liverpool is, okay, they brought in Konate, but that's it. And I think if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be fuming because for me, they had an opportunity to dominate English football for a period of time. I felt like that just when they did what they did, the Champions League and then winning the league, and then they've done nothing. If they'd have spent money, they've literally done nothing though, right? Like they brought in, it's funny because I was on LFC day trippers quite a lot last season, and as football fans, we're fickle and we try spin it always. And I remember them telling me about Kabak and all this, and they were going, yeah, he's gonna. And now Kabak's rocked up at Norwich. Yeah. The other guys fecked off who they didn't want. I don't know, and I thought these were going to be good. But yeah, I just think, not that Canate is a bad buy, I just think where they are as a football club, I can't believe they haven't done more over the last few seasons. It's insane, really.
That's where you talk to anyone about can Liverpool go and win the title. It's the squad depth. Like, I don't even think if they could keep all 11 fit, even the midfield, as shaky as it is now, because I think letting Wijnaldum go and not bringing in someone, I think anyone, if they got Basuma, I know I've mentioned him before, but again, a player that would have upgraded them a little bit, I think they'll be all right, but they're going to pick up injuries. And I just, look, maybe Klopp likes working with a small squad, but I think the owners, if I'm honest, for Liverpool have let them down a little bit because they had an opportunity to go again with a brilliant manager, with a brilliant first team, and maybe compete.
Yeah.
No, look, with Liverpool, I just think they've been very disappointing in the window. I'll be honest with you. It's I was tossed between Newcastle and Liverpool. I went to Newcastle because I don't think they've done enough to stay in the Premier League. But with Liverpool, I look at it. Do I think they've done enough to get top four? I don't know, you know. Look, you're going to have Tottenham, you're going to have Liverpool, you're going to have probably Leicester. You know,
get top four. Hang on a minute. We can't do this. We can't go and win a few games 1-0 and then say you're going to be top four. There's no way. Sure. Yeah, no,
look, I'd be happy winning 38 games 1-0. You still win the league at the end of the day. You know, it doesn't matter.
It's not going to happen, mate. It's not going to happen.
Look, we've learned lessons from the game with you last year, where you scored Lanzini last minute. We've learned lessons. We're holding teams out now. But no, like you look at Liverpool, I do think they're dragging themselves into a top four battle with the likes of a Tottenham, with the likes of a Leicester, and potentially West Ham this season. So. I just look at it after winning the Champions League and then the year after winning the league. Why aren't they building on this, you know, to make themselves a proper powerhouse in England? And they just haven't done it. In fact, the owners it's like they've settled for it and they're delighted. It's like they think the job is done and that clock can keep working miracles. And I don't think that's the case. I just don't think it's the case. And look, Van Dijk's off the back of a long layoff. There's no guarantee they're going to get a full season out of him. Look, most players that come back off a long layoff, the season after, they tend to pick up a lot of niggling injuries after that. And for me, if that happens, I think they're screwed. Yeah. So, I just don't think Liverpool have done enough, and I think they're dragging themselves into I think they're opening that fourth spot now, rather than, you know, closing it between just having United, City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Liverpool have left that fourth spot open.
Yeah, definitely. We predicted City would win the league before the season. Corey, does the transfer window make you change that opinion?
I think so. I think it's still too early, man. I think it's still too early. It's a shame we didn't get.
One thing I will say, right? I will not have any Manchester United fan tell me they are not in a title race now just because they're backing up the man Ollie. The amount of times, we're just top four, just improve.
But this is what makes me die. They make way too many excuses for what they're watching. It's just ridiculous. You see him against Wolves with a better team. They literally in terms of that tactical battle, he had them on toast. And I just, for the life of me, but Man United fans will watch this. They'll finish fourth and they'll say, next season we'll go and get the DM and then we'll compete. No. You don't just sign Ronaldo. You don't get him in and say, you know what we'll do. No, the options they've got is ridiculous. And I think as a
he's got to win something this year, Ranny.
He has to. If he doesn't, he's got to go. And I know it sounds harsh, but these fans, it's Man United. It's not like any old team. It's Man United. You should be competing. And the excuse for the past couple of seasons has always been the squad. The squad's more than good enough now. I think it's nearly on a par with City. You'd argue that they've probably got more goals in their side than City in terms of that forward option. So, I don't know. They've got to be competing. I don't think just finishing third's good enough. I think you've got to get a league, even if it's a league cup for Ollie, really. But he knows that, doesn't he, mate? I mean, he's out of his depth anyway. So.
He's shy. Right, guys, I think we'll leave it there. It's been a really good chat, a really good guest. Great to have the Irish Hotspur David on as well, man, legend. And we'll have you back, mate, if you're free. If you're free on a Thursday at 8 p.m, we'll have you back. Been a lot of love in the chat.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. It all depends how long we go on in the Europa Conference League, the inaugural. You know,
But Tim Pot League, yeah.
Well, look, at least we're in some sort of Europe. I'd rather be in my position than Igal's position. Let's be honest.
True.
But look, what I will say is, Joe, anytime you need me, my man, just hit me up and I'll be on, man. I'll make whatever.
Tell everyone about your channel. What you're doing and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, you can follow me over at the Irish Hotspur. Look, I do a lot of very, very lively debates, very lively. Look, I do predicted lineups, player ratings, post-match shows, pre-match shows. I do it a lot. You come to the Irish Hotspur. It's one of the best. After, I'd say, We Are Tottenham TV and Matt Hayes, I'd say, it's one of the best Spurs channels out there. So make sure you get over there and smash that subscribe button on it, guys. I'm on the big push for 5K. Only been out 9.5 months now. So let's see how many we can get over there and make it happen. And thanks very much for having me in the comments. And thanks very much for having me, Joe. And Corey, it's been a pleasure.
The links to the channels are in the description, as is always the case. Corey, what have you got planned on the international break on the West Ham? Why?
I actually don't know, mate. I started my new job the other day. I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm literally getting back from the train. I can't miss it. No, I want to do a show on the transfer window because I haven't quite covered it yet. Obviously, get a few of the lads on. We do it each week, and then back to pre-matches from next week. Really, I know England's on and that, but I just prefer West Ham. I just want to get back into it. We're just getting back up there and watching the games, and then it's like, no, we'll take it away from you. So
there's another one in the end of October as well, I swear.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's another in it. October going into November.
There's a few before Christmas, and then after Christmas, we don't have to wait till like June or something, I think. But just on England, there's a couple of minutes left, but they're winning 4-0. Goals from Sterling, Kane, Maguire, and Declan Rice. Grealish assistant
England's
Rice.
Own. West Ham's own.
Grealish assistant Rice. That Irish connection, really, wasn't it? Grealish and Rice.
Look, did you see what happened to us last night? No.
Is this with the Ronaldo?
Yeah, lad, we got roared. Ronaldo, Ronaldo, he punched
I've seen that, right? When the guy moved the ball. Yeah.
Darragh O'Shea, he put another challenge in on our man Aaron Conley. That should have been a second yellow off. And then, look, the game was up. The ball was at the halfway line, waiting for the referee to blow it up. He doesn't. He waits till they got another attack, and then Ronaldo scored. But the referee, look, he was so biased yesterday. He was giving them absolutely everything. It's like they were doing everything they could, to help Portugal get back in the game. And then once they did, then help them nick it. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was robbery, to be honest with you. Absolute robbery.
Well, it was all about him breaking the record and that. That's what that was about. You're probably right, mate. Yeah. But, right, that's it from Before the Whistle Blows this week. We will be back next week, of course, looking ahead to the next round of fixtures. Leeds have got Liverpool, so I can't lie. I'm a little bit worried that we might still be searching for that first win of the season. I can't lie. But thanks, as always, for watching, everyone. If you're watching it back, as I say, please smash a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, comment, notification, and follow the boys as well. The links are in the description, and we will see you again soon. Peace out now.